We all have stories. Stories inspired by culture, competition, creativity. Stories show our humanity. They inspire us to greatness and remind us to be humble. Stories connect us to our communities and the rest of the world. We are the Chutta people, and these are our stories. See and share them at togetherwe'remore.com.
People don't know what it is to be champions. Oklahoma invented it.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to Through the Keyhole. It's an Oklahoma football podcast. Welcome back to the show, everybody. I am your host, Brady Trantham, alongside Mr. Matt Burton. Matthew.
Hello.
You just got done talking about all this stuff for the last, 2 days, and then we had to go on a little bit later because Oklahoma decided to have some severe weather. But that was fun, right? Did Matt? Do you have a storm cellar?
We do not. No, we just have the typical middle of the house closet. That's our go-to. It's the best we can do. So it is always a surreal feeling whenever the weatherman is basically like, it's look out if you're living here, and here, and it's exactly where you live. That's exactly what happens to us. So hopefully, as I'm watching right now, no tornado actually touched down, but it was tornadic activity. So hopefully nothing touches down and everyone can be good to go.
Yeah, it was pretty gnarly. The wife and I and our dog were snug in our tiny little storm cellar in the garage for just about 15 or 20 minutes. But, oh, well, Mr. Alan Kinney is also here. Alan, what does weather look like where you live?
It's actually quite pleasant. Did a little grilling out earlier. Calm skies. It was quite a nice little Tuesday.
Not bad.
So all's good here. Yeah.
Not bad at all. Want to give a shout out to, of course, our title sponsor, the Choctaw Nation. Thank you all for their help with the show. Thank you, of course, goes to Peyton Guthrie, who is also a member of the show, but has been super busy with the Choctaw Nation, his day job. So I believe he's out today, of course, and won't be joining us next week as well. So we pray for Peyton Guthrie and his sanity as he works hard, like the little busy bee that he is. We wish him well. But thank you to the Choctaw Nation. Go to togetherwe'remore.com for some of that work that Peyton is working on right now. Go help support him by looking and watching and enjoying some amazing stories about some amazing people. And then, of course, Kaizen Performance Gym, the best gym in Norman and more, wherever it is. Hopefully no tornadoes hit that place or tornadoes hit anywhere at all. But real quick, I'm going to be really random. Alan, if I say the phrase steamed hams, does that mean anything to you?
Yeah. Gosh, what is that from though? I'm not exact. I can't remember, but it does ring a bell. Yes.
It's my favorite Simpsons bit. Yes, it's Principal Skinner. Let me move my mic. My mic's like right in my face. It's Principal Skinner and Super Nintendo Chalmers.
Yeah. Okay.
I just wanted to say it on a podcast. I don't think I've mentioned any Simpsons references on the podcast because Matt, have you ever watched The Simpsons or no?
I have not. Unfortunately have not.
We've known each other for a long time, and I've never sniffed that you have any liking for The Simpsons. So yeah,
not that I'm against it. I've just never, really done a deep dive. But I'm all for it though.
Well, you're young. Also, you're younger than I am.
Yeah,
so.
It definitely hit like its zenith, and then all of a sudden, no, I don't know. I hate to speak ill because I love The Simpsons so much, but I wouldn't blame anyone in Matt's demographic who doesn't make The Simpsons, appointment viewing.
I guess most people say that it really started to suck after season 8, I believe. I'll watch it up to season 10. Season 10, I think, is when they go to Florida for spring break. And I love that episode. I loved it when I was a kid, and I'll still watch it every once in a while. But yeah, anything past that, I'm just like, it just kind of turned into Family Guy. And Family Guy's fine for what Family Guy does. But if I'm watching The Simpsons, yeah, I want to watch The Simpsons. But hey, what's up, patrons? I believe this is a Patreon exclusive. I hope I sent out the link to you guys. We've already got Hype Man Harry and Jimmy Satterfield in the chat. What's up, gents? If you would like to join most of our live streams live when we're recording it, to see all of our warts and all of our flaws in real time, you have to go to patreon.com/throughthekeyhole and join. If you you're like, I don't want to donate to a bunch of strangers, I don't want to give them any money, I don't really know, I like OU football, but I mean, who are these people? Well, you can be a free member for a month and you can try us out. And I'm writing stuff on there. We've got some podcasts planned out as we get closer and closer to spring ball, that it will, of course, begin not next week, but the week after, because next week is spring break. But we've got a fun little group of friends and patrons over at patreon.com/throughthekeyhole. And hopefully they enjoy some of the stuff that we put out bonus-wise, because we enjoy putting it out. And then also keyholepod.com, that's the free website, where you can find Alan Kinney's latest blatant homerism column, which is basically going over the progress report of Oklahoma's offseason in terms of the new coaches that they hired. So go check that out. Whether you're listening to us right now, if you're a patron watching us, try to listen to me and read it. I know you all have multiple screens, so go do that right now. If you're listening to us on the podcast feed, or if you're watching us on our YouTube channel afterwards, then go read it then. You should have already read it by now, but hopefully you will. But we will, of course, talk about all those new coaches, because yesterday was Oklahoma's Spring Media Day, where I went over with the Sooners on SI crew. Shout out to Ryan Chapman, Carson Field, Ryan Aber, and, of course, John Hoover. But we got to talk to everybody. We got to talk to Dylan McCullough, Jason Witten, Lamar Morgan, and then they scurried off. And then Jim Nagy came up and had a press conference. And then he scurried off, and Brent Venables came to have his press conference. Now, my task, gentlemen, was to, as soon as Nagy was done, hey, we need you to go write a Jim Nagy presser, kind of like find an angle, write a story, and try to have it out by 11:30, which is when Brent Venables was scheduled to be finished with his press conference. So just remember that, 11:30. And so I'm digging through the transcript, looking for some good quotes, and then trying to find an angle. And I had one, and I wrote, I focused. Brent is 20 feet in front of me talking to the media. And I'm like, hurry, I gotta hurry. And then I hit submit, and it's about 11:26. And then I look up to pay attention to Brent Venables, who then literally says, guys, okay, I'll leave it up to questions now. So he had been talking the entire time, filibustering, like he was, what was his name? Cory Booker? Is that his name, Al?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, like he was Cory Booker. And I'm like thinking of everybody there, all, like the group of us that volunteered to transcribe. And I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be a long time. But fortunately, they let Brent Venables go past his scheduled time so that he could actually answer some questions. But and then, of course, after that, we got to talk to all the incoming freshmen, and then the transfer portal players. So we're going to talk about all that stuff, anything that popped up from there. But just real quick, Alan, anything from, let's just start with the coaches, and let's start with, I guess, let's just go in order. Anything from the new coaches, whether it be Lamar Morgan, Jason Witten, or Dylan McCullough, jump out to you as worthy podcast fodder for the three of us? Anything that just kind of maybe piqued your interest? I mean, what'd you kind of find?
Yeah, one of the interesting parts about Dalen McCullough Is that what we're saying? Dayland? Is that how we're gonna say that? Or
D-Land.
Deland?
It's
Deland.
D-Land.
Okay. One of the
What up,
interesting things about
D-Land?
one of the interesting things about Deland McCullough, obviously, is that he had two sons who started, or I guess Samacol didn't start his career here, but they passed through OU's football program and then moved on, right? And you'd think that there'd be better feelings there. Obviously not. He took the job, right? But listening to him kind of talk about Brent Venables, the culture at OU, the program, that's the kind of stuff that is a nice, kind of, I guess it makes a nice statement and nice for selling, on the recruiting trail or what have you, or, people who are, really invested in the program about where things are heading and how Brent Venables is running the ship there.
Yeah. And I think I know I've probably said this before because I'm always, yes, even I am always trying to, what's the best possible scenario here? How can this work out? Because it's the University of Oklahoma. I want them to do well. But whenever the conversation around like how Brent Venables viewed recruiting when he first got here, Alan, I remember kind of telling you guys, well, at least he's trying to build genuine relationships with people so that, because you just never know whether, if you lose the recruiting battle, that's not that may very well not be the end of it. So if you burn your bridges because they end up choosing like to go to a different school, you might be in a position where they hit the portal and you're just right there. And if you've done everything politely and correct and genuinely, then you could stand a very good chance of retaining or getting that player services. In this instance, like you said, like the interesting thing is Deland McCullough's two sons played at OU, had a good time. They enjoyed Brent Venables, but then they ended up leaving. So that typically paints the picture of, oh, they left for a reason. And it seems like those reasons were just kind of practical. Like they may not have become the players that they thought that they were, or, one thing or another, and felt like their opportunities were better served elsewhere, which was just kind of a mutual parting of ways. Right.
Yeah. That's the impression I got from it. And it's kind of, it's a new reality that people kind of need to get used to, that, players are looking out for their own interests too. Right. And so, if the opportunity isn't there at the school where they're at, why wouldn't they leave, or why wouldn't they look to move on? It's funny too, because, and think about this, obviously, the whole controversy, or I don't even know if I'd call it a controversy, the stupidity or whatever the thing was with Parker Livingstone, it's a kind of a similar situation, right?
Exactly. Now, here is the all-time, like from here on out, here is the through the keyhole rule, because it has come down from on high. I asked Mike Houck, is it Livingstone or Livingston? And then he smiled and said it's Livingston, because I have been told this, and then I got told that a few weeks later. Then I got told
I'm
that.
over 2.
Yeah. We're
all
Dayland
over. And Livingstone. Okay,
I started
Livingston.
off saying Livingston, and then we have a Texas fan that listens to our show every day, and he was like, "Guys, you have to stop saying Livingston. It's Livingstone." Just like it's. I was like, "All right, fine, cool. I'll listen to the Texas fan. Like, we'll be good."
He's trolling.
I know he's trolling us.
He's trolling because he's trolling because fuck Parker Livingston, right?
Exactly.
He's a traitor.
Damn it.
That's why. He said he wants to beat the crap out of Texas. Hell no. OU's all happy.
No, he wished he was still there.
OU's happy they got our sloppy seconds, and they're over there saying like, hey, we got Hollywood Smothers, as if he didn't quit. He came to Norman because he got homesick. Like, please stop. Anywho, it's okay. People grow up. Hollywood Smothers grew up, and you know what? Parker Livingston he can either be the third best receiver at Texas, or he could be the third best receiver at OU. And he chose to be the third best receiver at OU. So what are you going to do? Matt, any of the new assistants jump out to you other than Jason Witten's aura? Anything interesting?
A lot of aura around Jason Witten. That is for sure. You can absolutely tell that dude. I mean, he's got it, dude. He's got it. You can tell he's a 17-year pro. Honestly, so it's still, I don't know when it'll feel like real to me that he is actually the tight ends coach at the University of Oklahoma. But hey,
You should already feel that way.
That was
You
a
should
good
already feel
start
that
on
way.
Monday with the recruiting weekend that they had, and then how that tight end room is kind of transformed, even though those guys had no idea that Jason Witten was going to be the coach, apparently, which I half believe. But it's no, I did like hearing from Dylan McCullough, man. I mean, again, we talked all about his life story and his background, which is just truly fascinating. But man, I found myself coming away from that like incredibly impressed with him as a coach. Obviously, you can look and like see all these running backs that he's worked with, and it's like or recruited, and did all this stuff. And even he was like, yeah, well, that kind of matters, but kind of really doesn't matter anymore. That's in the past. He's like, people aren't coming to Oklahoma just because Jeremiah Love's about to go get drafted from Notre Dame, right? He was like, I know I recruited them, but I feel like maybe that was him being humble and being like, oh, doesn't really matter. That does matter to me. And if I were a potential recruit, that would matter to me a lot. But I don't know, man, just the way he carries himself, the way that he speaks, it feels like there's a kind of quiet confidence with Dylan McCullough around the job that he does and basically what he does coaching the running backs. So I came away just incredibly impressed with Dylan McCullough.
Yeah, I want to get to him in just a few minutes. Let's stick with Jason Witten, gents, because I mean, like you had just said, it is kind of weird to still think of him as like just a coach, like let alone a coach at the University of Oklahoma, just because of who he is. It was kind of odd to like be in the same room as him, to be like at the table with him, because it's like I grew up watching him play as like a teenager, young adult. It's not like I was a child. I'm not that old, but it's still very odd. But just by like what Jim Nagy mentioned during his press conference, guys, just by like what the talent level is in terms of the tight end room, you should know that something's different, because man, the talent in that room has flipped. Is Rocky Beers going to be great? We don't know. Is Hayden Hansen going to be great? We don't know. Is Jack Van Halen going to be great? We don't know. And I'm going to say Jack Van Halen because Jack Van Dorsler. Okay. Yeah. Like, let me see him catch some touchdowns. I'm going to call him Jack Van Halen until then. Okay. So he's
not Van Hagar.
Not Van Hagar.
He's gonna be that till he makes you jump, right?
Yeah, exactly. He's the what was Van Halen's bassist that they kicked out? Alan, do you happen to know the name?
Yeah, no, I do not know his name.
Well, he can be the bass player, Jack Van Halen, everybody. But like, whether it be those three guys, like, are any of them going to be individually great? We don't know, but one thing's for sure, we are all excited about them. We were curious about Jaron Kanik last year. Everybody else was like, I don't know. If they're cool, great. If I'm not expecting much. It is flipped. Our opinion of that room is flipped. And then OU went and got the number one tight end in the country in Seneca Driver. So it might still be weird, Matt, to think that Jason Witten is the tight end coach, but everybody else knows it. So that is the important thing. Well, Alan, like, not to diminish Lamar Morgan, but you in your, just to tease your column that released a few hours ago, you didn't have the most glowing review about him. And some of that is not necessarily upon like what he's been able to do. It's just more to do with, he's got a long career, but it's a lot of bouncing around, not a lot of staying around.
Yeah.
And at some lesser programs.
Yeah. I mean, look, Lamar Morgan in this case is also being measured against, what I think is, everybody would agree is an outstanding hire at running backs coach. And at the very least, an intriguing hire for the tight ends coach, right? I mean, so, it's kind of, it in a certain sense, he doesn't have as much flash, obviously, as those two, but it's also just kind of one of those, like, you hope he's good, but sometimes coaches bounce around for a reason. I don't know exactly what it was. I mean, to a degree, I feel like Brent Venables has a fairly good eye for talent when it comes to coaching defense and knowing what he's looking for from his position coaches.
Yeah.
But it's just one of these deals where it's like, I mean, I guess it's not the kind of hire where you're like, oh wow, man, they really nailed it. It's just more kind of like, you know.
Yeah. I will say I remember feeling kind of similar to Jay Valai because his resume was kind of similar, but the programs he was at were much better. I mean, Lamar's coming from Michigan, which is a great program, and their defense has been pretty damn good the last 2 seasons. Like you had mentioned in your article, though, their secondary, is kind leaky, has been leaky. I would say in defense of that, they're playing in the Big Ten. When they play a spread offense other than Ohio State, it's like, what the hell is this? It's like, just run right at us. But I remember with Jay Valai, he bounced around a lot. And my question with that always is like, if you're finding other jobs, that's probably a good thing. But why are you finding other jobs? And that was my question with Jay Valai is he basically being like, not necessarily shown the door from Texas or Alabama, but basically being told like, hey, it just needs to be better. And so he just suddenly then kind of tries to go find a new job. It seems like with Lamar Morgan, he's constantly risen through the ranks, even though he's bounced around some like Louisiana Lafayette or Vanderbilt before Michigan. It does seem like he's on an upward trajectory.
Well, I mean, he's been coaching for 14 years. So like, that's it's hard to say what would constitute an upward trajectory at that point. But he's coached in some places that you like the idea, like having a toehold kind of there in Louisiana and recruiting, for example. And, let's also be real. I mean, he was given an opportunity to be a defensive coordinator, right? At Louisiana Lafayette. I think that's a good thing. I think that having more people on your staff who have had, higher levels of responsibility, I view that as a good thing. But it's also kind of a weird situation for Lamar Morgan in the sense that like the staff that he was coaching with left, right? I mean, or got shown the door. And Kyle Whittingham, I guess I'm assuming Kyle Whittingham was keeping him around. I hadn't heard anything to the contrary, right? So, it could be a situation too where he's looking for, a new landing spot given the upheaval there. I just don't know. It's just one of those things though where the guys bounced around so much that you just you have to ask the questions, right?
Yeah, and I think it's also fair to remind people that within those 14 years, that dude got 3 master's degrees. I don't even know how that's possible. It's like, why? 1, why? 2, how? Like that is some major discipline. But like you said at the very beginning, Alan, I'm sure a lot of people, I just remember kind of being so low expectation when Brent started that even a hire like Miguel Chavis, I was just like, whatever, like guy who hasn't coached before. He's been a grad assistant guy at Clemson. He's definitely a Brent Venables guy. So like we hired Brent Venables, so be it. And I guess until Brent hires like a Kerry Cooks or a Willie Martinez, we are to just assume that, this guy's probably pretty good. Even though,
I'll give him a mulligan on Ted Roof because that was kind of a convenient thing. But
and well, look, what's his name that ran off to West Virginia?
Zach Alley.
Zach Alley did West Virginia's defense suck last year? It's year 1, so who knows if that's even fair if they did suck, but they weren't particularly good, so who knows. But I mean, the good thing about Lamar Morgan, he's got 2 of the better, like probably one of the best cornerback duos in the conference in Cortland Guillory and Eli Bowen. And while they don't have depth really past that, other than Jacoby Johnson, I mean, those 3 cornerbacks are really damn good. And so not a bad starting point for him. But turning the page over to Dylan McCullough, and I'll set it up this way. So, you know, how these things work for people that aren't media people. So a scrum is whenever you see a player like standing up against the wall and the media is like surrounding them with all their microphones and like cell phones, like looking at them, like recording them, that's called a scrum. So in a scrum, if like when I covered the Thunder, I could be in a scrum with Royce Young, Eric Horn, Barry Trammell. If Royce Young asks Russell Westbrook a question in the scrum and he gives a really good answer, surprisingly, then it's free for all of us to use. If we want to, we'll tweet out like Royce Young had a very good question, but really like if we're all writing our stories, it's basically quotes for everybody. So it belongs to everybody. So all these like assistant coach availabilities were scrums. Like they were just sitting at a table. They each sat at their own table and everybody kind of just had a free for all to go talk to them. So I started off at Dylan McCullough. So there was about 5 or 6 of us talking to him and asking him questions. And I asked what I wanted to ask. And then I walked away to go basically stand behind the layers of people talking to Jason Witten. And then about a few minutes later, I turn around and I noticed Dylan's just sitting there by himself. I'm like, all right, let me go ask him like a Brady question. So I go up to him and I paint him the picture of like, I'm sure you know this, but here was OU's situation last year. Here's their situation like going into last year. Do you see that more as just like injuries and injuries just being kind of like dumb luck and, you know, nothing you can really blame anybody for? It's just like, it sucks that guys get hurt. Or do you see it as something else? And then he kind of went all in on how, yeah, it's all about management and understanding wear and tear and how to avoid it. And then he painted this picture like, hey, like your 1s and 2s, like your number 1 guy and your number 2 guy. So essentially Torrey Blaylock and Xavier Robinson. If we have like all these things we have to do on a practice day, if they've proven themselves, I'm not going to make them do all that shit. I'm not going to make like every day, spring, summer, fall camp, in season. I'm not going to make them do all that. You need to give all those opportunities to the younger guys so that your room is better balanced. And so that once you get into the meat of your season, and this is me kind of like extrapolating his words, once you get into the meat of your season, you won't have Xavier Robinson be injured in a pivotal this November game. You won't have Torrey Blaylock be a non-factor in a playoff game. You'll avoid all this. So if you want more info on that, that story just dropped on Sooners on SI. It's on returning the Oklahoma ground game, blah, blah, blah. So if you want to read more into that, there's that. But Matt, I'll start with you. It's a weird situation that we find ourselves in when it concerns the OU run game, because Brent Venables was on the Oklahoma Breakdown podcast this past weekend, and he said that the running game was pathetic. 3.5 yards per carry last season. That is definitely well below the standard. He mentioned that the rushing outputs decreased over the last 4 years each year. So he understood it, but everybody loves DeMarco Murray, and you're not gonna, like, no one was wanting to fire him. But then the Kansas City Chiefs come in and here's a job, and then he gets to leave of his own volition. Everyone smiles, shakes hands. And then OU just kind of accidentally falls into, in my opinion, a much better running back coach just by his resume. I mean, and that shouldn't hurt anyone's feelings, because other than Eric Gray, DeMarco has not put anyone into the NFL. So that's what we're all trying to get to in terms of like the great players. They make the plays. They make your team better. So now that now that we've seen Dylan McCullough, heard him talk, had like kind of shown off some of that confidence you mentioned, Matt, like, does it not feel weird to tiptoe around? DeMarco Murray's a great player, and he was a good coach, and we like him, but man, this room sucked the last 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was kind of, I mean, we'd been talking about that for a while now, right? I mean, I think a lot of people have. But yeah, I mean, you mentioned that quiet confidence kind of gave me confidence that Dylan McCullough knows what he's talking about and can get this thing right. But man, yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with people still having good feelings about DeMarco Murray, the player. Like there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But him as coach, yeah, I mean, you can have some type of feelings toward that. But I mean, he got hired by the Kansas City Chiefs, and I am 100% with you. I think they did end up with a better running back coach in the process of all that. But yeah, I mean, I'm still interested to see what that was. I mean, there are, the Zevin Walker, the Jonathan Hattons, the two freshmen, see what this year looks like for them, because those are guys that did sign up to play, especially Hatton signed up to play for DeMarco Murray. So, it's we'll see. I think this would be a good enough hire to maybe keep those guys around, hopefully, for the future. But man, I don't know. I just, again, it's one media scrum. Brady, I'm reading your story right now through all of it, but I'm pretty sold on Dylan McCullough, and I was already almost there just basically because of his track record and all the guys that he's worked with and or put into the league. So yeah, no, I'm fully confident that he can get something shaken there.
Yeah, that's the hope. But I mean, Alan, it is what it is. Like DeMarco, if this was Tulsa, not even Oklahoma State's had a great run of decades of great running back play. If this is most other schools, I think DeMarco Murray's doing a hell of a job, but this is the University of Oklahoma, where running backs, it's impossible to build a Mount Rushmore of running backs because you're leaving off 3 or 4 greatest of all time guys. So while it's probably good for most places, what we've seen the last few years just is well below the standard. And OU didn't really, I guess, address that in the manner that I think crazies like me would want. But they accidentally addressed it by bringing in Dylan McCullough because DeMarco Murray left of his own free will. So, I mean, what about it kind of excites you in terms of the thought that, hey, with this great defense that Brent Venables has built, maybe you can get back to being a very, very competent running team to complement their defense?
Yeah, look, I always hesitate to put too much on a position coach just because we don't really know. I mean, the fact that Jackson Arnold couldn't throw the ball, I mean, that's going to hurt your running game too, by extension, that type of stuff. Right.
Yes.
But I do think that, the thing about with Murray was that you kept hearing, oh my gosh, he's doing so well on the recruiting trail. This guy is going to come in, be an instant impact type guy, or he's going to, there's a whole lot of potential there, Taylor Tatum and whatnot. And it just felt like such a letdown every time in terms of what you were actually seeing on the field with the production. And so, look, regardless of, whether or not that was DeMarco Murray's fault, I mean, he was the guy coaching the room. You got to, at some point, you also have to just say, maybe we need a change here. The interesting part about this, yeah.
I was going to say, Alan, I'll always push back on that just because if you ever, if anyone asked Brent Venables or Lincoln Riley or Bob Stoops during the season about problems with the rotations or problems with players not playing, what do these coaches always say?
I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Right.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, they always say, you'll have to ask the position coach. Now, ironically, Brent Venables hasn't let position coaches speak. So we could,
other than right now, it's springtime and that's it.
Yeah. You get your one shot. Right. So I understand. I understand that completely. But it's just, you can't really ignore at all these different places where Dylan McCullough has been, the running backs have been really good. I mean, it's at some point, it's not a coincidence. And so that's why I'm excited, because especially with a guy like Jonathan Hatton, who comes in with a lot of hype, but also a lot to back it up. I mean, I'd argue that he's as exciting recruit at running back as he's had in a long time. And so you also know, though, like in the back of your mind with DeMarco Murray, running that room well, we've heard this before, and it hasn't exactly worked out, so that part of it is good. It's just the Murray situation is so strange to me because clearly other programs wanted him. Other NFL teams wanted him. So there's just this disconnect in terms of what we saw from his room versus what I guess everybody else is seeing. And that part, I just, I can't explain it,
I can. How many times have we seen like studies show that attractive people get opportunities that they probably don't deserve?
Yeah.
Like DeMarco Murray's a handsome son of a bitch. He's a very good looking man.
Exactly. And he looks like the part. I mean,
yes,
he has
the
like
idea.
The idea. Yes, exactly.
The idea of DeMarco Murray is awesome.
Yes.
And I mean, look, like, yes, the recruiting was good, but here's another thing, because I've said this about Jason Witten. A lot of those characteristics also apply to Jason Witten because he's also green as a position coach in college. However, so DeMarco got the number 1 running back in the country one time, and that was in his 4th season. Jason Witten already got it, and he hasn't coached a down at OU.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I mean, every situation is different, but the idea didn't really ever sniff like reality with DeMarco.
Right. But
go ahead.
Well, no, what I was going to say is I don't think that any of us, I mean, if DeMarco Murray doesn't get hired away, he's coaching OU's running backs next year, right? We all agree on that. He was not he was not getting bounced, right? So again, I know it's easy to say, oh, he's a former player, he's beloved, and that gave him a lot of a longer leash. But I mean, I'm not sure if that really passes the smell test for me. So again, I'm wondering, like, it should be concerning if you think that Murray was that bad, that the coaching staff, it took him, like, the fact that there were what we view as upgrades out there to hire, and they hadn't made that move, right? I mean, that there's got to be something strange about that, or something concerning about that, right?
Yeah, but at the same time, Brent, just with the offensive staff, was just kind of resigned to like retain everybody that was with Lincoln Riley if they stayed. And then most of them were former Sooners. And he just was like, I'm going to worry about the defense. Y'all like do your thing on offense and we'll meet on Saturday. And like Seth Luttrell was so bad, and Brent hired Seth, I believe, as an analyst. But Joe John Finley, like OU has technically never communicated that they fired him other than they hired a new coach. Like they wouldn't even do that. DeMarco was going to coach here as long as he wanted, and they could have dropped from 3.5 yards per carry to 3 yards per carry. And I would be like, he's going to be the running backs coach next year, because Brent's not shown that ability to identify that this is well below the standard on offense. We need to do something else. And before you say he did that with Seth Luttrell, that was such a loud, visible, you better do this or you're going to get fired. Like,
right.
So,
no, yeah. And you can get by. A position coach is a different story. I agree there. Yeah.
Yeah. Because like really the Seth Luttrell thing makes more sense of like, no, Brent actually does. He will pull the trigger with offensive staff members. It would have made more sense. That would have made more sense to me if he had also let go of Joe John Finley, but he didn't, because really, until someone says otherwise, which they're never going to talk about it, which opens the door for me to speculate. He held on to Joe John because he felt like he owed him. Like, that wasn't your fault. That's not your offense, but you were a good soldier and called plays for this team, and I will reward you by retaining you, basically. And Oh, well, I mean, oh, well, like these are all weird things to complain about. OU seems to be in a better position with its running backs coach. And also, I mean, yeah, like Matt, I think you'd mentioned Jonathan Hatton, but the good thing is Dylan McCullough like knows every running back on this team already.
Yeah.
Even Lloyd Avon, I think he mentioned like, he was like, yeah, I remember like watching his film when I was at Notre Dame. Jonathan Hatton, I recruited when I was at Notre Dame. I recruited Xavier Robinson and Torrey Blaylock, and him and Xavier had enough of a relationship, guys, that last season, I think it was after the Ole Miss game, Dylan said that he texted him, said like, keep your head up. You like that's the Xavier Robinson I know, is just keep up. So, man, it's pretty good. I mean, it's pretty cool to know that you go from one position coach who's known as like the recruiter to a guy who essentially does recruit very well enough that he knows all of OU's players in the running back room. So, that's good. It's good to be excited for. And I guess it's also important to point out, to remind everybody, I don't know if we're going to be seeing much of Xavier this spring unless he had a very minor surgery in December, but he did tweet out that he had surgery and then he quickly deleted it because someone on the staff was like, what are you doing? Don't do that. Don't do that. So we'll see. Anything else with the running backs, guys?
No. Brady, real quick, there is a situation happening with your Miami Heat right now. Bam Adebayo has 67 points right now.
What? He had like 30 in the first quarter or something like that, right?
Yeah, he has 67 points. He shot 29 free throws.
Oh my God. Those are Shea numbers. No, I turn off my notifications.
Oh, sorry. Now he has 69. Nice. I got the game cast on. Cast on.
Let's go, Bam.
Yeah.
I turn off my notifications when I record these podcasts, and damn it, now that like boom, 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 boom.
Dude, that's
amazing.
Oh
wow. And there's 9 minutes to go in the
left.
fourth.
Yeah.
Let him get 80.
Yeah,
Wilt
is sweating somewhere right now.
He is. With
the
Shea record, and then
yeah.
Oh my God. This is awesome. There's not that much else to be excited for the Miami Heat. So.
Oh, Bam, that was an and one, so I think he has 70 now. Yeah, he has 70. That's crazy.
Yes.
Dude, holy crap.
I need to pull that up.
Sorry. Sidebar here on the OU football podcast. Sorry, it was just a situation that I was monitoring.
Let me have my fun. Malik Willis, quarterback of the future for the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, right.
Do we know any Atlanta Falcons fans, Matt? Josh Callaway's
Josh
one,
Callaway.
right?
Yeah, Josh Callaway is a big Falcons fan.
Tua Tagovailoa, that's your problem now. Yikes. Yeah. So those were the assistant coaches. Jim Nagy also talked. Guys, I think the most interesting thing, other than just a lot of does to me, which would be like, I'm in a much better place now that since I've been here for over a year, instead of being hired and then being thrust into here's the spring portal and, try to fix the roster as much as you can, like on the seat of your pants. So like that makes a lot more sense that, OU as a program, as a front office, they were better positioned for this portal, especially since there's only one transfer portal session this season. They were better positioned for that. So that made a lot of sense to me. He also, like we had mentioned, he had mentioned that the tight end room was flipped. One of the big talking points this offseason was improving the offense, and it started with the tight end room. So they did that. But Alan, Jim Nagy, awesome that he is so public facing and talks to the media a lot, because I can't think of another GM, exclusive GM, because they're like technically like Kirby Smart's George's GM, and he talks to the media as much as a head coach has to, but I can't think of any other exclusive GMs in college that talk this much. But he did also mention that, we're also trying to get Owen Heineke eligible, and that was it. There was no chance for a follow-up, and it's like, are you guys going to sue? Is he going to get drafted or be an undrafted free agent and then and then you sue the NCAA, win the case, and then you can tell him, hey, you can come back. But it's like, no, he signed a deal. It's over.
Yeah, that part I don't understand what what other avenues there are left besides I don't know, the Supreme Court or what have you. So and in that case you almost start wondering, well, if they're going to let him back given his situation. It's like, why even bother making anyone ineligible? I mean, it's like no, that part was strange, and I know that it's something that fans are going to hold on to, but most people who've spoken with Owen Heineke recently about this feel like he's kind of like at peace with the whole thing. So
yeah, and that's kind of what was in my head too. And then I said that's all he said. He also mentioned that Owen was like on the practice field the other day with them, and that he still had the itch. And it's like, so is he also like actively helping out this idea that, hey, I could still be an Oklahoma star, which would be great. It would be so odd if you could just fast forward to OU's first game and you have no idea what has happened. You've just zapped yourself to the seat as the game is starting. The defense runs out on the field, and there's Owen Heineke. It's like, what? Yeah. What? How did we get here? But who knows? I guess we'll find out pretty soon, because like that clock is ticking. But then Brent Venables talked. So Matt, now that you've had 2 days to talk about it on the radio, surely you've been able to dig into something that he said, because Brent talked a lot. I mean, I transcribed the part of his soliloquy where he talked about all the number of percentage production returning for PBUs, for tackles for loss, for like the starting experience for the entire team, the starting experience for the incoming transfers. So that was my part. Did you jump into anything at all?
Not much, to be honest with you. I gotta be real honest. But no, I did like, he was kind of, poking fun at, hey, 90% of our rushing production's back. But there wasn't very much of it, to be honest with you. So I like him poking fun at that. But I think not really anything that Brent said in particular, just because I felt like weirdly he said a lot of the same stuff on the Oklahoma Breakdown whatever on their interview. So it was kind of regurgitating a little bit of that. But no, I mean, I'm excited, man. It's crazy. The spring game's about here, and not much from Brent personally.
70 points.
Yeah, he's got 71 now. Made a free throw. It's crazy. How random.
It's against your Wizards, Alan.
Oh, sorry. That makes it all makes sense now.
Trae Young's not playing, is he, Matt?
No, I don't believe so.
Even Trae Young wants nothing to do with this. No,
yeah, he is not playing. But like the Miami Heat have Tyler Hero's out. Norman Powell's out. They've got a lot. Khalil Ware's out. So Bam's basically just like,
go for it, Bam.
Bam and Jaime Jaquez out there.
Hell yeah. No, it's like the Thunder the other night against the Nuggets, right? They didn't have Chet, Hartenstein, Jalen Williams is still out. Who else was that it?
Alex Caruso was out.
God, and they still beat the Nuggets?
Yeah, fucking Jay Will had 7 threes. He hit 7 threes.
Career high. Yeah.
And AJ Mitchell, first game back, had 24 or something like that.
Looking like Manu Ginobili.
Yeah, seriously. And then, I mean, Shea is just Shea. I mean, he did Shea things.
Alan, you responded to Jalen Williams hitting 7 threes with a yeah. Was that a good yeah, as in like I called it and maybe won some money, or was that a yeah, that only happens when I put money against the Thunder?
Actually, it was neither, but I caught the game. I was like, what is going on? Like, why is he? When did this start? Like, what are we doing here? Like with Jalen Williams? Yeah, I mean, guess it was unexpected. I was just What is
It
this?
started with Jokic guarding him. He's given up way too many wide open threes.
Yeah, right.
He's like, I'm not getting out there. And then by about the fourth
Yeah.
three, he's like, well, I guess I have to start.
And J. Will damn near ruined it with that unnecessary foul
such
on
a
the
bad
screen.
play.
It's like, oh no.
Apparently,
Right
he was
after-
talking after the game. He was like, I was just so tired that I just like the fatigue got me.
It's
yeah,
not
almost
Thunder,
cost him.
it's not Thunder Nuggets unless the nugget hits the ground.
True.
Oh well. There's your Thunder talk for the Thunder fans that are also through the Keyhole listeners. Yeah, I mean, Alan, anything from Brent?
No.
The big thing from him, I mean, I guess another big thing is he did also accidentally mention that PJ Adebayo had foot surgery. But then he caught himself and was like, oh, I didn't want to talk about that. So then he said, I'm going to talk about all the injuries when I talk to you guys next week, which I think he forgot that there's a spring break next week. So it'll be Wednesday, the 25th when OU spring ball begins. I don't know what the availability calendar is like. I don't know if we're going to talk to Brent that day or before, like the Monday leading into that Wednesday, but we'll get all the injury rundown 2 weeks from now. So other than that, Alan, nothing.
No, not really. It's funny you mentioned the thing about PJ though, because like Bob Stoops had this way of like sometimes he'd say stuff and it'd be like, oh, I guess you guys didn't know that, did you? Or whatever, you know. With Brent, it's more like you could tell that Bob did it intentionally. With Brent, it's more just like, you know, he's whatever's coming to mind is going out, you know.
Yeah. It's Brent doing Brent things, selling his program. I do think that there is something to be said, and we've talked about this, you know, in different, maybe like specifically with position groups, but not necessarily overall. He did kind of flat out say like, hey, the big strength of our team last year was that a lot of our twos played as good as our ones did. Like very, very deep team, very reliable depth. And he was saying how this year the twos are like twos. They are not ones. There's not a lot of like twos that could be ones. And the whole point of emphasis this spring and summer is going to be getting those twos to a place where they can be interchangeable with the ones. And to me, Alan, that just screams linebacker and interior defensive line, I think. Because I mean, yeah, like the corners you could say,
Yeah.
but Javon Jordan became a thing last year, and he's of course gone. But of the many people they have, I'm pretty sure they're going to find a fourth freshman cornerback that can at least be good in the back half of the season once the light bulb comes on. Maybe even sooner than that. I think we all hope. I think they could probably find a fourth corner, but really it just comes down to, yeah, past David Stone and Jaden Jackson, you're hoping that Nigel Smith and the other kid that Brent mentioned, Trent Wilson, those guys are a transfer really picked up so that Jaden and David don't have to play all the snaps. I think it's even louder at linebacker because it's Kip and Cole Sullivan and then James Nesta. And people are like, whom? Exactly. Like he's barely played, not even played near 100 snaps on defense. I think most of his snaps have been on special teams.
Yeah.
So it's really loud at linebacker. But I think what I had said before is maybe it could be a good thing that you just get more David Stone and Jaden Jackson because they're awesome. Maybe it's not. What made the OU team in 2025 great doesn't necessarily have to be the reason why the 26 team is great, if that makes sense.
You're right. It doesn't. But Jaden Jackson was hurt, you know, in and out of the lineup, you know, for a good stretch last year, right? I mean, You get a situation like that this year and you don't feel as confident about whoever it is coming in behind him, right? So in that regard, I mean, yeah, that is kind of scary, and you are hoping they're thinking right now about, you know, whatever the college football version of load management is for those guys, because, you know, I mean, it's just it won't be the same kind of depth. It just won't. And so I mean, you know, you do think, we were just talking about Owen Heineke, but you had him. I mean, you have Kobe McKenzie. Now all of a sudden, guys like that all gone. it is a different way of doing things. And also, schematically, I think for Brent, he also needs to be thinking about, okay, if we do lose a Jaden Jackson, what does that mean for how we need to be playing defense, how I need to be deploying, the assets that I have here. Because a guy like Trent Wilson isn't going to be able to fill that hole. You're going to have to figure out a way to kind of work around that. If you want to still maintain a similar level of performance.
Yeah. At the same time, I think that's probably what we all think going into a season is hopefully this guy doesn't get hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully your quarterback doesn't get hurt. Hopefully Jaden Jackson doesn't get hurt. I mean, I don't know. I'll tend to believe that Brent Venables and Todd Bates and this defensive staff can find like a few extra guys to raise their levels. I mean, none of us really knew who Taylor Wine was until literally last September. So I guess it can happen, but yeah, it's not a very good place to be in compared to where you were last year in terms of the depth.
And I think it's also just a reality for all of college football at this point. I mean, teams are going to be thinning out, and you're going to be playing injury roulette. It's kind of just the way it is.
Yeah. Well, I guess onto the players. I guess of the big ones that I got to talk to, probably the biggest was Cole Sullivan, also Jack Van Halen himself, but probably the most notable like quotes to come out of media day would be one Parker Livingston. Matt, this is a story that it's so like low hanging fruit, and I get it. If who would be an adjacent? I mean, Elijah Thomas, but he didn't even touch the field on offense last year. But I'm trying to think of like, what's an OU Parker Livingston? And it doesn't have to just be a white guy.
Yeah.
Like that level of player, like in the wide receiver room, like third or fourth guy, but they have to be an underclassman. I'm trying to think.
I mean, yeah.
Don't say like 2017 CD Lamb, because that's not that's not where I'm going with this. But Basquin, like Nick Basquin. He was a good wide receiver in Lincoln Riley's offenses. He was from Norman North. If that type of player played like a year or two at OU and then they transfer to Texas, like there are going to be a lot of OU fans that are upset about that. I would just try to ignore it. Things are going to be said. It doesn't matter. Like once the game is being played, you'll forget that they're out there unless they torch you. But that's always the fear. But Matt, like this whole Parker Livingston thing is so silly because to me, it should just be a case of now for Parker, that's a different story. Like him individually, how he feels about it. Like, yeah, like I'm not going to say he shouldn't be sad or mad or upset about it. But just from an OU and Texas standpoint, Texas, you did exactly what you wanted to do. You got Cam Coleman. You have Ryan Wingo as your number 2, very talented. You went out and got a bunch of really awesome running backs, and sacrifices needed to be made. And Parker Livingston kind of embodied that sacrifice. Like you just couldn't hold on to all of them. And then for OU, not that they're really doing anything with this, but for OU, it's just like, yeah, like there was a talented young wide receiver with great size and some pretty good film that just suddenly became available. And it happened to be a guy from the University of Texas, and they went and got him. If he was trash, he could have been from Texas. I don't think OU would have cared. If he was 6 feet tall, 6'1", like they'd have been like, yeah, we've got a few of those. Like, no, thank you. To me, it's just, this is all like great offseason content, but then once the games start, like I don't think people will remember.
Yeah, to me, I don't know why it's like that surprise. I don't think that it's that surprising that he probably still like deep down wishes he was at Texas, right? I mean, like a guy that probably grew up a huge Longhorns fan, played for the Longhorns, had success,
and that should be okay. Like I have no doubt that he would want to be, and
yeah. But also, he didn't want to get completely screwed over in his mind, like getting screwed over. Like, I mean, yeah, I mean, I feel like you could put yourself in their shoes right now. Like, yeah, if OU was like, hey, I grew up dreaming about playing OU. Well, this might not be a good example, right? Because like I'm sure there's some fans out there like, I don't care, I'd play for free. I would play for free, but still, if you're making a certain amount of money, and then they're like, actually, you're not going to be making that much now. You're going to be making less because we want to bring in this guy to replace you, basically to play over you. There would be you'd have some feelings about that. You would absolutely have some feelings, but
77, 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I've had the game cast up. I'm like, he's been chucking threes trying to get 80, and he just can't make one. He cannot make one right now. But no, to me, I don't know. It wasn't that surprising to me that a guy that probably grew up a huge Texas fan, played for him, had success as a freshman or redshirt freshman, whatever he was, and like that he probably still would like to be at Texas, but also didn't want to get completely screwed, and having an agent and his agent being like, hey, they're trying to like completely screw you, man. I mean, I can't let that happen to you as your agent. So I don't know. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. He's wearing OU gear. He's going to play for OU. He's going to make some plays. Like it's like I'm fully past it. I don't really care.
Okay, I need you guys to explain to me what was the story here in Oklahoma in terms of what he said that caught everybody, or that got people talking. Forget the Texas angle, whatever it was that set them off. Did he say something about OU or about Oklahoma that got people riled up?
I think maybe a portion of the fan base might have been maybe like, I want all my OU players to love and bleed crimson and cream, when he said like, yeah, if blah, blah, blah happened, I'd still be at Texas.
Yeah.
And again, that makes sense. Like, he's from Texas. He grew up a Texas fan. He played at Texas. He beat Oklahoma in the Cotton Bowl, and in a game where there weren't many offensive plays to write home about on both sides. He made one of the biggest plays in that game on a crucial third down. So yes, like it makes sense that things didn't work out the way that I wanted to. And now he's making the best of it. And yeah, there might be some personal like pettiness in that I got the O and the U on my chest now. So now, and he even said like, I want to beat the crap out of Texas. Now, I wonder if the team is going to be like, don't say that. Is Parker Livingston going to be available to talk to the week of the Texas game? No, he will not be available. He'll he's got a test that he has to take that day. He will not be available. I can guarantee it. But
so because my read on it is, I mean, for one thing, Chris Vanini is the one that asked him the question, right, from The Athletic. And
yes,
Chris reached out to me at least and said, I asked the question, and he said the context was, how did he learn that Texas wanted Cam Coleman? And, is this a case where it goes to show the value of having an agent, right? Because your agent can say, hey, guess what? I'm hearing through the grapevine, they're pursuing Cam Coleman. Your agent can say, hey, here's what I think you can get out on the open market. Here's what you're being offered, so let's go. If you want more, you're going to have to go somewhere else. And I think that, that was read by some as, oh, he wishes he were still at Texas. And the only reason he went to OU is because they offer more money. And then, the only reason, Texas seemed to take it as, his agent steered him away from the program. I mean, no, Texas wanted Cam Coleman, and I understand why. He's really good. So, comparing the two, I get you. There shouldn't be much question about what the calculus was here, and if they don't want to pay Livingston that money. I don't understand what the deal is here. Like, why is this like surprising to anybody?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I apologize. I'm trying to I'm paying attention
Yeah.
to you, Alan. I'm also paying
Yeah.
attention to Bam Adebayo has tied Kobe Bryant.
81.
Oh my goodness. Is he going to break it?
81. Probably there's a minute and a half left, and they are trying to get him the ball. He's 34 of 41 from the free throw line.
Shut up, Matt.
Wait, he shot 40 free throws.
41 free throws.
I believe that's the most free throws a player has taken in a single game in NBA history. I believe.
Wow. What did Wilt shoot in his 100-point game? How many free throws did he shoot?
He's probably just standing there dunking, right?
Yeah, probably.
No, but I mean, to the Parker Livingston point, what you were talking about, Al, I mean, you're right. It should be like open and shut case here, but it's a rivalry for a reason.
Yeah.
You know,
no,
like, Parker Livingston could have sat there and said, hey, there's going to be a part of me that's always going to bleed, burn orange. And I hope OU fans don't take that the wrong way, but it's an interesting situation. Ideally, I would be at Texas. Things didn't play out that way, and that's okay. And I'm very thankful that the University of Oklahoma exists because I'm excited to help this program win a lot of games and hopefully win a national championship. He could have said something like that was respectful to both sides, and motherfuckers would have been in their feelings. Like,
you're right.
I mean, hell, I'm sure Texas coaching staff is maybe still upset that he made that decision, but at the same time, they're like, yeah, we got Cam Coleman. And
I was gonna say you forfeit the right to be upset, after that. Like,
yeah,
sorry.
And look,
you recruited over him,
Cam Coleman, very good. Another fact about Cam Coleman, 0-2 against the Oklahoma Sooners. And we move forward. Anything else from players at all, guys? I asked Cole Sullivan, like, if he has been in a situation where he's had to watch game tape of the OU Michigan game while he's been on campus at OU, and he said yes, and it was awkward to yes. It's like, yes, you guys won, okay. But he's excited for the return trip to Ann Arbor. But other than that, anything stick out, Matt?
Not so much to me. I'm trying to remember all the ones. I have not made it through all of the ones that are posted online. Weirdly, one of the ones I did watch was Caleb Nita, the new backup center or guard, whatever.
Yeah.
But he was pretty interesting to listen to. But I truthfully have not made it through a ton of them. I was all Thunder yesterday.
And I'm all Miami Heat right now.
81. That's crazy.
Is this what was his name that had 50? He was a rookie of the year, like in 10, 11. It wasn't
Michael Carter Williams or like Tyreek Evans. Or no,
wasn't Michael Kidd Gilchrist. Was it Brandon Williams?
Brandon Jennings.
Yeah, that was a. He
did
it.
Got 82. He got 82. He's shooting another free throw.
Yes.
2 more free throws. He's gonna take 43 free throws. He made both. He's got 83. Goodness gracious.
Hell,
43 free throws and 43 field goal attempts.
Dark humor. Is it too soon?
If it were me, I would have checked myself out after I got 81.
I'm just out of here.
I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
Pulled a Gronkowski when they had 69 points and intentionally missed the free throws.
It's not like he hasn't been efficient. He's 20 of 43, so I mean he's right around 50%. And some of those misses, he has been just jacking threes to try to get to 80 earlier.
He knows what's going on. Like he's like the. Is that in Miami?
I believe so. Yeah. Yes, it is.
Oh yeah, like dude, you do that for your home crowd.
Oh yeah, of course. 83 points. Oh my goodness, dude! I can't believe that. I'm sorry. So sorry. Okay, Bam did get subbed out. Now he got subbed out. Finishes with 83.
Yeah, have a little class, Bolstra.
Yeah, seriously. With a minute left, and they've been up about 25 this entire quarter.
Yeah, I mean, see, here's what's really going to suck is, I mean, for the last 12 years, 15 years, however long it's been, I've listened to so many nerdy, I'm not calling out Zach Lowe because I don't think he had this opinion, but adjacent Zach Lowe types that have NBA podcasts basically say like, oh yeah, Kobe's 81 is better than Wilt's 100, when none of us were alive for Wilt's 100. When that just kind of like spits in the face of like, well, it's more about the historical impact of just the fact that he probably scored 100 points in a game. And it also kind of reminds me of like the 2005 USC Trojans would destroy the 1955 Oklahoma Sooners. Like, oh my God, with that stupid conversation. So now what are they going to say? Is Bam Adebayo just like, forget Kobe. It's all Bam Adebayo now. This is his world. Whom? So weird. Where do we go from here, Matt? You've tailed me off. Where do we go
did
now?
have a crazy recruiting weekend, by the way.
Yeah, we don't normally talk about the the recruiting here.
Yeah, I'm not a recruiting expert. I'm not, but
Alan is. But
there was mention.
Nah,
Alan is. He just has his own separate podcast. It's on the $37 tier through the Keyhole. So I'm going to force him to talk about recruiting just a little bit. But guys, this is not something that we're accustomed to. The #1 recruiting class in the country, and by far. And look, it does help that the state of Oklahoma is going to have 1, maybe 2, perhaps even 3 5-stars come out of it, because what, Matt? Once every 4 or 5 years, Oklahoma has a 5-star.
Yeah, feels like it. Yeah.
Feels
I'm
like
not
it.
even sure. That seems more
Yeah.
frequent than even in reality. It seems to me like it's like once every 10 years.
Maybe. I mean, I know David Stone was at IMG, but because he's from Oklahoma, that was just a recruiting battle where it's like he's essentially an in-state 5-star. If you lose him, that's so detrimental. You cannot lose that battle. So I'll count that. And
what I like even more is that the positions that these two guys play too. Both offensive tackle. I'm like, okay, yeah.
And then Gabriel Osborne, who's been recently crystal balled to OU from Mustang, which is right down the street from me. I might go watch Gabriel Osborne play some football this year if I find the time. But they got the #1 tight end in the country. They've basically addressed all these positions that they're going to be needing. At that time, they got Jameson. Is it Jameson Roberts or Jameson Roberts? Jameson Roberts, quarterback from Alabama. I talked to Christian Moore. He was probably my favorite player that I talked to at Media Day, guys. He was the, as he calls it, the 0-star linebacker from Selma, Alabama. And my whole conversation starter with him was like, hey, you're like the 7th or 8th player from the state of Alabama to ever play at the University of Oklahoma. What's that like? It's like, how does that feel? And in this 27 recruiting class, they've got 3 players from the state of Alabama verbally committed to them. So Alan, like this thing that we kind of saw with Brent Venables when he became the head coach, of just this recruiting momentum and like recruiting at a level that we had not seen even under Lincoln Riley and even early years Bob Stoops. It seems like, no, this is truly how it is, because it was probably still going that direction if not for that terrible 6-7 season in 24 that just cratered the program in its momentum. And he's been able to rebuild it back up. But I think a big part of it, Alan, has just been OU going out of its way to build a professional front office so that the coaches can coach and the front office can do what the front office does. And I think OU having one of, if not one of the few programs in the country having this type of front office, this is definitely like a big byproduct of that. Don't you think?
I mean, it's got to be, or at least, I mean, it's playing a role. I don't see how it couldn't be, it's amazing too, because everybody knows that they were brought in to pinch pennies and cut corners and, all of that. And all of a sudden, somehow Oklahoma is still, reeling in these touted recruits. I mean, look, I think this is kind of how I envisioned it going. If OU could have the kind of year that would give in 2025, that would give people enthusiasm about Brent Venables, because, it was just it clearly, there's no doubt about it, his job status was being thrown in the face of every recruit who had even thought about, visiting OU. Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that you've got two different kind of, factors here that are coalesce. I mean, you've got, Venables having stability and some buy-in. And I mean, clearly OU is I guess I'd say that they're ahead of everybody when it comes to the new style of front office. And I mean, at some point, it's going to pay dividends. I mean, it's like it's almost like doubling your recruiting energy or resources by doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know how much of this, Matt, is just maybe just happenstance because of like what we mentioned, the state of Oklahoma having so many talented players come out at the same time. That's of course fortuitous for OU being the big school in the state, but also it just has to do with like, what Alan and I were talking about with the front office, but also just genuine, hey, like OU really proved itself in year 2 of the SEC. These players don't seem to think that it was the result of random silly things like turnovers and how they're not repeatable. They seem to really buy into like, no, OU is one of the top tier programs, not just in the SEC, but in the country.
Yeah. I mean, the main thing for me with the Nagy and Brent thing, Nagy did kind of hit on it a little bit. And it was kind of my big question mark. I think you guys may have had question marks too when this whole Jim Nagy thing happened. It was like, who is actually sort of in charge of that recruiting,
Yeah.
transfer portal, all that good stuff. And to be fair, like it does sound like a truly collaborative effort, which, I mean, I think we all thought they're obviously going to collaborate, right? I mean, it's not like, hey, these are the only guys you guys can recruit, right? But we also didn't know. And so with the weekend that they just had, though, it's hard for me to believe that they're not totally aligned on everything that they're going through. Because I mean, that was a truly special recruiting weekend. I don't know if there's been a better recruiting weekend, to be honest with you. At least not like a recruiting day where you get 5 commits on one day. One of them being the number 1 tight end in the nation. So the other thing too is like I'm just looking at On3's composite rankings. It just takes all of the recruiting rankings, Rivals, 247, and ESPN, mashes them together. Seneca Driver, the number 1 tight end in the nation. He's the 49th ranked player in the nation, so top 50 guy. He is the 4th highest rated recruit in OU's class at 49 overall. Yeah. Like, I mean, that's truly special. And if you stretch it out, Taven Epps is 88th overall. So they have 5 top 100 guys. I mean, that's what it looks like. That's what it's supposed to look like right there.
Yeah, that's insane. And again, big part of it is just going to have to be OU going out there and winning games this year because we saw what a bad season can do to your recruiting momentum. Some people, I've asked this question on the franchise, Matt, when I was filling in for Tyler with you last week. I believe Bob Prisbillo said that he thinks like the floor to maintain OU's like top 3 class would be 8-4. I'd say 9-3. 8-4, that tends to kind of be like, so you beat the teams that ended up being bad and you lost all the good ones. That's not very good with what OU schedule looks like. So 9-3 is to me the floor of if you can be 9-3, you've probably beaten some good teams. You might have had like a bad day or two, missed the playoff, but that's okay because here comes like the number 1 recruiting class. So that's the hope. But anything else like in terms of recruiting, whether it be just like the assistant coach's influences on it, Alan, or just overall thoughts?
No, I mean, keep in mind things are going to change between now and the end of, whenever these players are actually signing on the dotted line. Yeah. So, I mean, some of these guys will move in and some will move out. Some of them, I mean, I suspect OU will not have the number 1 recruiting class when all is said and done. But, I mean, I'm looking at it though and thinking, okay, well, they are landing guys on the lines, they are landing a tight end right now that, I mean, when they really had so little to sell at the position, aside from we just hired Jason Witten, I mean, the track record in recent years has been so poor. Peyton kind of says this is like Brent is getting a lot of the big stuff right. Like OU as a program is getting a lot of the big stuff right. And, you see it paying dividends, with stuff like this.
Yeah. Alan says that OU will not have the #1 recruiting class because he's a hater. Just making us all sad at the end of the show. Well, anything else, guys? I don't really want to. We had to go on late. We've gone for almost an hour and 20 minutes. Anything else about OU football?
I think I'm good.
And Matt, am I filling in for you on Friday?
Yes, I'll be out Friday to Monday, going to my brother-in-law's bachelor party, Scottsdale.
Oh, splendid. That'll be lovely. Yeah.
Nobody goes to Vegas anymore, do they, for bachelor parties? It's pretty much out. Is that what I'm hearing?
I guess so. I mean, I went up to the Hard Rock in Tulsa for mine, so like I didn't.
Yeah, there you go.
So it's basically Little Vegas is what they call it.
Saw Queensryche or something, or like,
Speaking of Vegas, Vegas has been in the news a little bit recently. They've got a series of big concerts coming to the Sphere in October, and a lot of people are upset about Ticketmaster. Well, I got my tickets.
I'm telling Brady, like, it is I saw the Dead there. It is unbelievable, man. The way that they have done that, man.
Matt and I were talking about this on the radio last week because I think, Matt, you called it. You said that he had seen
I remember it. Yeah,
the Grateful Dead. So the Grateful Dead at the Sphere make a lot of sense to me, Alan, because of what the state of mind of like many of the
and they were all like 80 years old too.
And what the Sphere does, it's immersive. I just don't know like how that lends itself to Metallica. Have you ever seen Metallica, Alan?
I've never actually seen Metallica live, no. But I think that part of it, the visuals obviously with the Grateful Dead, it's a different thing, right? But they do it's a kind of experience though, like if a band has a long kind of, a long history or what have you, there's a lot of angles they can play up with that will work.
Okay.
I mean, so I try, if you have a bad time or if you're disappointed, I will be shocked.
Oh yeah. Like I don't think I'm going to be disappointed. I'm just questioning like, how does like an immersive experience lend itself to Metallica? Because it would make a lot more sense to me for like a band like the Grateful Dead or Pink Floyd, like bands that are very theatrical or have like visuals a part of their live shows. Because with Metallica, it's just 4 dudes on a stage playing their instruments. Like
they'll work. They'll figure it out, man.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right.
The thing that I got too, though, coming away from it was like, how do they coordinate everything? Because it's crazy. Like the way that all the visuals and everything worked with the music. It was just, wow.
Well, now I'm super excited and thank God, got lucky. It's during OU's 1 bye week that I'll be in Vegas that weekend to go see them. So 1 bye week with this hard ass schedule, 1 bye week. All right. Well, patrons, thank you so much for joining the show live. Again, if you'd like to join the show live on our YouTube channel, it's patreon.com/thekeyhole. If not, don't worry about it. You can just wait until we're done recording, and then it's going to be up on YouTube for you to watch, and then on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, wherever else you listen to podcasts, for you to listen to. If you've not done so, please leave a 5-star rating review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Please, please, please. We would greatly appreciate that. And then we hope Peyton Guthrie is going to be okay while he's super, super busy over the next few weeks, but he will return as soon as he can. So look forward to that. But for Mr. Matt Burton, for Mr. Alan Kinney, for myself, Brady Trantham, for Peyton Guthrie, and for the new modern day scoring champion in the NBA, Bam Adebayo. Thank you for listening to Through the Keyhole. Until next time, come here.